This week on the Unqualified Gamers Podcast, the boys have a guest, formerly from Rooster Teeth, Jack Pattillo. Episode 94 of the
Thank you for not saying
Gamers
welcome.
Podcast. Hey, I didn't do it. Dude, I'm off.
You fucked
that,
up
okay?
once.
It was like a 3-week thing where I messed it up. Today we have a guest, Jack Pattillo. I am a humongous fucking fan of this dude. Years and years of my life watching this dude in Rooster Teeth and all of that. Super stoked that you decided to come on the show today, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you're obviously not at Rooster Teeth anymore. Where are you working now?
At Rooster Teeth, are they?
How do you know that?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Rooster Teeth shut down in May, and so me and a bunch of other people have been on, the hunt for new jobs. I actually literally announced yesterday that I am now working for a small independent company based in Finland, a game company based in Finland called Channel 37. So I'm a community manager for this new company, and it's the creative director of the company is Antti, who did Trials Evolution, Trials Rising, and I've been a huge fan of him for a long time. And so when he heard Rooster Teeth shut down, he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, we should talk." And then I walked away with the job. So that's pretty
good.
cool.
You didn't have to move out there or anything, right? You're still.
No. Yeah, I'm work from home, which is awesome because I have a nice, decent setup here already, and that's the one positive thing that came out of COVID was everyone set up their work from home stuff pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only issue is not really a problem. The only issue for me is because they're in Finland and I'm here in Austin. We have about a 7-hour difference. So their workday begins at 1 a.m. my time and ends around 9. So to compensate for that, I start my workday at 6 a.m. and then work till 2. So it's a little tricky, waking up early. I'm a gamer, so waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work is not fun. And
Right.
I don't have a kid, so I'm not used to that. And so yeah, but it's nice having my afternoons. I finish work at 2, which is pretty cool. So and then do everything I can not to stay up till 1 a.m. So yeah.
So
But,
you're
well,
almost
it's
working like the old 9 to 5 where you'd have to get up at 6, drive into the office, and then come home, except you get to like skip everything post like just after lunch.
pretty much.
So
yeah.
that's freaking awesome.
It is
Best thing I
wild
ever
that,
had was go ahead.
I was gonna say it is wild that like my the first couple hours I'm here, like it's still dark outside when I'm working. It's like, oh man, that's very strange. I get to watch the sunrise with my dogs outside. So
That's my drive to work.
Yeah, Cece used to be a garbage man, so that
Yeah.
dude was out there in the snow at like 3 in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, 5. Well,
Man.
about 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah, and then I would get off at 1, and I would take a nap for an hour every day. Yeah,
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 pass.
so he's 100%. He's on board with you.
yeah.
Nice.
But speaking
Was
about
horrible.
him, he called me the day that he had gotten an email back from you,
Yeah, dude.
and I had to put it on. I had to put it on speakerphone so my girlfriend could hear it. He's just like, dude, I'm ready to scream like a little schoolgirl. I am.
Oh, man.
He could not. Look at him smiling right now. He knows it's
Shut the
true,
fuck up.
dude. He's turning bright red right now. He is.
Dude, as I
Oh,
said,
my God,
I grew up like, well, I mean, I'm 38 years old. I mean, I remember like when Rooster Teeth first started with Red versus Blue, like, handed discs to my friends and stuff like that, like we'd all, watch them together and trade discs and stuff. And then just, it grew into just so much. It was every day I would listen to this podcast wouldn't exist without the Rooster Teeth podcast, because that's where I got the idea from, like I loved everything that Rooster Teeth did for the most part. So, I mean,
like the
For the most part? All right.
For the most part.
I mean, there was,
I'm just gonna throw these.
I'm sure there was like, I'm not a big,
on, Nature Town, Jesus Christ. I mean,
I'm not a big anime guy, so I never got into Ruby. So, but like most of the stuff was just awesome. I loved.
How did you guys even start Red versus Blue? Because I've always wondered. Like, I figured you probably were just playing Halo or something. But
they started Red versus Blue before Jack came.
yeah,
Right.
I'm the sort of second generation of employees at Rooster Teeth. So the original guys started up Red versus Blue famously in Bernie Burns's like spare bedroom. And then they got an apartment together down in South Austin, and sort of the initial, I came in around year 9, I think, or maybe 7. years. 7, like 7 or somewhere 7 to 9. I don't know what.
We're gonna say 7,
around for 21 years.
Odd number it is.
Yeah, maybe they were doing season 7 of Red versus Blue, and that's when I started. That's what I'm thinking. But the company had been around for a bit, but I came on as employee number 9. So like they went for a long time.
I knew you were an early employee.
Yeah, and so they were a really tight knit group for the first almost decade or so. And then I came in and they were on their 3rd office. So we had an office downtown Austin off Congress Avenue, like right in the heart of downtown Austin. So I got there, and that's where I initially, I was writing for a website, and I met Bernie and actually Joel at a poker game that a friend of mine threw. And he was a moderator for the Rooster Teeth site, and so he knew Bernie and he knew the guys, and so we played poker, and that's where I met Bernie. And he's like, we need more content for the site when we're not doing Red versus Blue, because at the time they were only doing Red versus Blue, and when they weren't in season, the website was kind of dead, so they needed more content. So he's like, pitch me some stories or pitch me some ideas, and so I pitched him, Jeff, and Gus. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, I pitched them like 8 or 9 ideas. They ended up buying 3 or 4 of them, and one of those ideas was a show called Forced Enjoyment, which was Jeff forcing me to play games that were terrible. And so Jeff and I kind of bonded over that, just because he liked having like making me play terrible stuff, and him and I became pretty good friends. Him and Bernie had just done this achievement contest in Call of Duty, and it did really well. People liked it. And so Jeff, after working together for a few months, he took me out to dinner one night, and he's like, I have this idea of like this video game tutorial site, but with video content as opposed to like game facts or something all written, and but with the Rooster Teeth personality attached to it. And then after about 3 months from that meeting, we had Achievement Hunter up and off the ground.
Yeah, Achievement Hunter was like, I used to like have it up on the TV while I was like cleaning my room and stuff, like the Let's Plays, like, and I've seen them all. I've seen them all,
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Let's Play came around a few years into Achievement Hunter, because initially Achievement Hunter was just a tutorial site, and people really just gravitated towards that. I don't know if it was the personalities or the information or what they did, but people really dug it, and so we got a lot of response from that. And then I think Jeff and Gavin did a sort of a live recording video one time where they were playing and recording, and it went really well.
It was Minecraft, right?
No, it was. God, I forget what game it was. I want to say it was like a side-scrolling punching game. I forget what it was, but it went well. And then about a year later, I think him and Michael played Saints Row, maybe is what it was. I forget what the first sort of Let's Play that we actually branded as a Let's Play was. And then, but that sort of content that like shaved tons of time off editing, and we were able to start doing longer form content. Because at the time, like, we tried to make everything 5 minutes or less. Like, the whole idea was like, you go on the internet, you watch a video, and you're out, And so this long form content stuff was like unheard of. And even at the time, it was like a video longer than 30 minutes was just wild. That was stupid.
Yeah. And that was like 9 different uploads to YouTube at that time.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think YouTube's. I mean, it was the old west of or the wild west of YouTube when it was like back in the day. It was nuts. I remember when HD came out on YouTube, and I was literally at my house uploading different encodes and resolutions, trying to figure out what we could do. But yeah, so we started doing longer form stuff. That's where it really kind of blew up. I mean, I think that's where the quote unquote golden age of Achievement Hunter was, when the Let's Plays like Minecraft came out and all of those, and that's where people really fell in love with it. And so. But yeah, we ended up running Achievement Hunter 15 years. Is that right? 15 years before we kind of like rolled off of that, and then shortly thereafter, Rooster Teeth shut down. So what that means was Achievement Hunter was the thing holding Rooster Teeth together.
Right? Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Understandably,
really.
Why though?
Not really. I will not take.
I mean, I wish that your putt show would have been able to go on, because that was actually pretty awesome. Man.
That was that hardcore mini golf, dude. I love doing that show. That was such a fun show. That was the last show we shot before COVID hit. So we actually initially were going to have Greg Miller out, but he was in San Francisco, and already that like the city had started locking down.
Yeah.
And so we got Chris to take over for Greg Miller. And then and we had Chef Mike come down from Chicago, and he was our last guest we had remote for 2 years once COVID lockdown happened. So, but man, that show was so much fun. Getting to shoot at Peter Pan Mini Golf, that was a blast, and that was entirely my idea. I literally pitched a crappy little PowerPoint presentation, and then we had that show up and off the ground. And I had big plans for a season 2 as well, but never made that happen. So,
I mean, it couldn't have been crappy of a PowerPoint if it got you the gig. So
I can't
if it got it off the ground.
That, like, immersion never got picked up by like a TV channel. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was just crazy. Like, immersion was awesome.
We were in talks with the Discovery Channel. We actually did a special with them. We had a Shark Week version or an episode of Immersion that came out, and we were working with them. I wasn't involved with that production, but I know it got close. And just never able to make it happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what Immersion is, do you know what it is? What do you guys?
I don't think I've ever seen Immersion.
So it's like video game in real life. Like they did so many of them. Like I still watch them to this day.
I've seen a couple of I saw a couple of YouTube videos of people who did like a.
It was probably Rooster Teeth.
Okay, it probably was.
It probably.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I will say if you start back up, because I know you talked about possibly hoping one day to continue this, the annual pass. Let me know, because I will jump on. I will 100%. I'm going actually this weekend for my daughter's birthday. We're going to Busch Gardens over here in Florida, which I think the one in Virginia is better. Maybe just me, but still.
If I could afford it,
tell me how Iron Gwazi is. I've heard really good things about it. And Cheetah is amazing, right? Cheetah's
fun. That's actually the first ride I took my daughter on, and she cried the whole time. So I can't take her on fast ride. Like after that, we only did like the carousel and the little shows, which they're I don't know what it was, some show on ice. Amazing. They have great sideshows too. So that's a great thing about a lot of amusement parks.
That's a fun little park. We actually we did Let's Play Live, which was a live version of kind of what we do on stage. And one of the shows we did was in Tampa. And so as we were coming through, one of the guys in marketing at Busch Gardens reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, I work here in Busch Gardens. If you guys want like a VIP tour, let me know." So we ended up taking like all of Achievement Hunter and Funhouse to Busch Gardens and getting like a private tour through it, like where they literally walked us up the exits into every ride. We got to ride everything. It was one of the greatest days ever. But annual pass, for what it's worth, I have the rights to annual pass. So I actually bought the rights to annual pass. So there is a good chance that we're going to bring it back next year in some form. Might not be the same, weekly episode type show we had before, but yeah, it's where I've already talked with BK and Ben. We're talking about getting something back off the ground, especially next year with Epic Universe opening. So I'm very, very excited for that to happen. I actually got my opening week tickets already for it.
Awesome. Yeah. That'd be awesome. I'll definitely watch that, because I've done like Six Flags, I've done Cedar Point, and then I've done both Busch Gardens. So I love roller coasters, amusement parks, really in general. Just the feel. The best thing to do in Virginia at that Busch Gardens is they have Europe in a sense. So they've got like France, Germany, Britain, all that good stuff separated in the different parts of the park. And then you just change like your accent whenever you go to each one and just.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
I know. You're jealous. It's fine.
I am.
Yeah, the only accent CC has is Australian, and it's horrible.
It's really
It's
good.
A war crime every time he opens his mouth.
I can't do it right off the bat. It just comes when I'm playing Call of Duty, okay? It just comes.
I'm married to an Australian, so be careful. I'm married into that country.
Yeah, it's really good, trust me. She would approve. Yeah. So back to Let's Play Live. So I don't remember if it was St. Louis, Chicago. There was a show when you guys went on the road with it. We went
to Chicago.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I couldn't remember where it was. We were supposed to go, but my friend with the good car, his car broke, so we weren't able to make it, and it crushed us all, man. Yeah, we were. So
you could have walked.
Oh man.
Hello.
Yeah, well, we all grew up like super poor. We had one friend with a good car that like we knew would make it. The rest were like, come on, I don't know, man, I don't know, dude. It's like a 10-hour car drive.
CC, all you have to do now is just send this podcast to your friends, and it's like they're here.
Oh, dude, I trust me. All my friends are like, Jack's really not going to be on your podcast, is he? I'm like, I'm pretty sure he is, man. Yeah, he is.
I will. I'm gonna call him out right now. Kai was probably the biggest doubter in this room right now.
Doubter of what?
He was
people coming out. Well,
yeah.
I just
people being here.
Yeah.
I just am. So the Marine Corps taught me anything. It was don't believe it until it happens. Because there's so many things where it's like, oh, we're going to be doing this or this or this. And then when the time comes, they're like, okay, never mind. We're going to change the plan. I'm like, all right, sweet.
I thought the biggest thing they taught you was purple was the best flavor.
Oh, God.
No, first of all, red. Okay. Second of all,
fine. My bad.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway, so So what was it like in those early days? Like when you first started working for Rooster Teeth, did you start full time right off the bat then, or?
No. So I was part time. So during like when I started writing for them, that was literally me just part time writing for them and working when I could on weekends. I was working for a game studio in Austin called Aspire. We did Mac video games because everyone plays games on their Macs.
Right. Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah.
But
How'd that turn
I was
out?
in marketing, so I was doing like trailers and stuff, and so I kind of had the skills of like capturing video and cutting it together from video game stuff, so that worked out really well. That when I started with Jeff, we started doing Achievement Hunter. It was very simple to be like, oh, I'm just capturing video games and cutting it, except now I'm adding a voice over to it.
Yeah.
So that wasn't that big of a leap, so that helped out quite a bit. And then eventually I came on full time, and so I started working there. And my initial stuff I did under contract with them was we did commercials for GameStop. So
I remember that.
like
Wow.
yeah, like in the early 2010s, if you saw a GameStop ad on TV, there's a good chance that I had a hand in it, or at least I was around when we were making that thing. So like actually my first GameStop ad was an Assassin's Creed 2 DLC ad. And so yeah. My cat is beating on my door. Sorry about that.
You're right.
Can't even hear
But
it.
yeah, so I did that for a bit, and that was kind of like the first stuff I did officially as we were also doing Achievement Hunter, because at the time Achievement Hunter was still kind of like a side project.
Yeah.
And then it started growing and getting bigger, and we started getting noticed. And so I would help out at conventions, and then we do all like PAX, Comic-Con, we do that, and it's wild because when I started, it was us at conventions with like 2 tables and racks of shirts, and it was just us. So like you would go to the booth and it'd be like Bernie and Gus and me, selling you shirts and then signing it, and then like, here you go. And then by the end of it, it was like we had farmed all that stuff out. We had these giant booths. It was wild.
That's literally like
RTX.
We're planning that February 8th is our first little Comic-Con show we're gonna go to, and get
As long as the
booth
people get back to us.
as long as they get back to us. If not, it'll be. We have one in October, Torg in Columbus that I've already talked to them. So that we're gonna try to hit a few other ones. We don't really have we don't make money off of the show yet. It's not big enough. So it's all just coming out of our pockets. So, but those are the first 2 I think that we're gonna do. So we're pretty excited about that.
That's cool. Yeah, conventions are fun. Like getting a chance to meet people face to face is always awesome. Like that's always my favorite. It's typically for us it would be people coming up to us and like, oh my gosh, we're a huge fan. Wow, you guys are a lot taller than I thought you'd be. So I think everyone at Rooster Teeth was like at least 6 foot tall. So it's like at least at the time when we started, and so it was like, wow, you guys are a lot bigger. It's like, yeah, sorry, weird.
Sorry,
and then,
that's weird.
And I will say, when you go to Australia, people say you sound more American than they thought, that's always the weird thing. I don't know why. That was always, he's like, you sound a lot more American. So.
Side story about Australia. I went down there back in like 2019.
Sorry.
Yes. I was there for 10 days. But the one thing that I got when I went down there is there was this Asian lady working at just a convenience store. And it was the weirdest thing hearing the Australian accent out of a Vietnamese woman. I don't know why it stuck with me so much.
That'd be pretty awesome.
But the funniest thing is she was actually from the area that I was from. Like she was from the Ventura area, and she had moved out there like 15 years ago. So here I am in Australia talking to a woman with an Australian accent from Vietnam who's originally lived like 30 minutes from where I grew up. And so we're talking about like these places to eat and everything else. It was just a surreal thing about how small the world is. And of course, I've never seen her again, but still, the world is a very tiny place.
Well, that's the thing. The whole accent leeching thing, like that is 100% a real thing. We worked with a guy. So Rooster Teeth, we had a distributor in Australia, and so he was from I think California or somewhere. And when he lived in Australia for like 10 or 15 years before he started working with us. And it was funny because you would talk with him and he'd sound normal, or he'd sound American, excuse me, like he had an American accent. And then normal, Jesus Christ.
Normal.
But then
normal
you
to
hear
us.
him like,
we got it.
Yeah. You would hear him like talk on the phone to people like in Australia, and his accent would kick in. Like he would start speaking with an Australian accent. And it's like, oh yeah, because people with that accent, it's sometimes hard for them to understand someone not in their accent. So you just kind of, get used to doing that. So it's pretty wild.
I usually have to apologize to people when I first meet someone and they have like a thick accent, whether it be Southern or British or whatever it is. I apologize right away because I'm like, I'm going to mimic your accent, and it's not even on purpose. I
you
just
are that guy, aren't you, Kai? You are.
I'm that guy. I mean, I make animal sounds. I copy accent. It's just, I don't know. My brain mimics.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
He was out there talking to his horse right before you came in.
I was.
He was.
I mean,
Nice.
she's pretty, so
Just don't leave your
I gotta
goat
make sure
with
she
this
stays
guy.
around.
If you have a goat, don't leave him with him. He'll lose it for sure.
Hey, first of all, the goat ran. I didn't lose it. It ran away. All right. It chose to leave.
You're a good farmer, Kai.
We don't put that on me.
You're
We
a good
put that on
farmer,
the.
Kai. So Jack, I know you stream on Twitch now.
Yeah.
So I also saw that you still, God, how do I phrase this? You still have your love for Extra Life recently. I've been watching that. So that was a huge thing. I don't remember what year it was, but I started streaming on Twitch during the Extra Life because I put like the Extra Life stuff on there, and me and my cousin did 24-hour stream on Twitch with while watching you guys and playing playing Halo and stuff. So yeah, Extra Life was a big that was a big thing that you kind of took, right?
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
try to do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you still-
spearheaded
yeah.
Extra Life at Rooster Teeth, and then this year I did it on my own. We had plans to do kind of a bigger thing and get a bunch of people involved, but unfortunately, like due to life stuff getting in the way and people looking for work, and you know, I just got a new job. It was kind of like we weren't able to do it as big as we would like. But I think it was also good to kind of like step back and be like, let's breathe for a minute. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into it, especially what we did at Rooster Teeth when. You know, the first time we did Extra Life, it was just Jeff and I in a room streaming for 24 hours. It was in the Achievement Hunter office streaming for 24 hours. And then a few years after that, we kind of kicked off our first big one where we actually had the Rooster Teeth podcast set, like the actual production facility. And so we ended up doing this 24-hour live stream from there, and that was chaos. And so, but we raised like $160,000 the first year and then started doing it from that point on. And we ended up raising over $8 million for Extra Life over the course of the 14 or so streams we did. And so that to me is by far the most important stuff I ever did at Rooster Teeth. I mean, even now, you know, like raising money for children's hospitals all over is fantastic. And Children's Miracle Network is a great foundation. And we had Dell Children's just down the road. So that Dell Children was the Children's Miracle Network hospital in Austin. And so we were able to raise money directly for those guys. And we raised probably like $5 million for them specifically over the course of our Extra Lives. And we even have a healing garden. So they have a mental health facility, and there's an outdoor area, a healing garden there that's walled off for the kids, keep them safe. And it's the Rooster Teeth Healing Garden, and that's there still. It's still labeled on the wall, the Rooster Teeth Healing Garden. That will be there as long as that garden is there. And so that's awesome. Kind of nice to have that sort of legacy staying. You know, like no matter what I did, all the goofy stuff I did, you know, getting to do some really cool things and wild stuff. But it's like that's the important thing, and I'm glad that will remain and keep there. And you know. If that's the legacy I left with Rooster Teeth, I'm A-okay with it. Like, that makes me really, really happy. And so now I'm doing Extra Life stuff on my own. This year we raised almost $30,000 for Extra Life, which was really cool. And just playing some games over the course of a couple weekends. And I've got a lot more charity stuff coming up. I still love doing charity stuff. And so actually I have an event coming up in December I'm going to be announcing pretty soon. And then I'll probably be doing another one in like February. So
we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll advertise it on here. We'll bring it up.
I'll definitely have to. Yeah. I'll definitely have to follow your Twitch too, so I can keep up on all. What is your Twitch, Jack?
It's just twitch.tv/Jack Pattillo. So Pattillo, 2 T's, 2 L's.
I'll send it to you. And
and so you can go there, and I stream like it's again having a real job is a little tricky. So I typically try to stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Sunday's my most consistent day, but Tuesdays and Thursdays I try to sneak in. And then so I've just said that I might be picking up a World of Warcraft again and starting to stream that because everyone's super into WoW again. And so I'm like, oh God, I really love playing it, but I'm nervous that that's going to be a huge time suck and I'm going to get lost and all of a sudden.
Can I make a suggestion then?
What's that?
Go to a private server.
Man,
it is so much. So I just started on a private server. I've got probably 4 game years into WoW at this point from
It's been a little time.
I'm that guy. All right. I'm a Blizzard fanboy. If you look behind me, you'll see a Diablo 3 and a Diablo 4 collector's edition. I was a competitive Overwatch player. I've done so many things with like Blizzard, and it has just been such a letdown with so many of their projects lately that I don't really want to support what they're doing right now. because I feel like everything they're doing is just half-ass, and it's not what I don't feel like the world owes us anything, but I feel like the company itself owes its fans a lot more than what they've been giving it, which is a really good example of that is Diablo 4. I'm not sure if you played much of that.
A little
But
bit, yeah. I went through. I beat the main story, so
okay. So then
10
you
hours,
know
15
that
hours.
Act 1 was this beautifully fleshed out storyline, and then Act 2 through 6 just go away in a blink of an eye. Like they did nothing with the rest of this game. If they had put even half the effort into like Act 1 into the rest of this game, it would have been beautiful. But they just left so much stuff out, and it came out like some kind of screwed up beta that they were charging us full price for. I mean, fuck, the collector's edition behind me was $200. It didn't even come with a game.
Wow.
Like, so, but
That's
like with all
crazy.
of that, I don't want to throw any more money at them and what they're doing. I still want to support them. But once they start giving their fans back a little bit more, which is the only reason that I'm like, hey, you should, try this other thing. I'll stop soapboxing, but yeah, I want to support them, but it's just so hard right now.
But I mean, they're trying something new. They're doing WoW Classic 20th Anniversary Edition. That's new, right? Just no,
That's
okay.
new, right? So I was
All
gonna
right,
ask
guys,
you,
this is it for the podcast.
so I was gonna ask you what was like some of your favorite things you did with Rooster Teeth. So I wanted to get the Extra Life thing out of the way because I knew you were gonna say Extra Life was your favorite. So and it really showed. Like every year, it really showed that like you worked so hard doing it, and
Well, I mean, it was. Yes, I was like definitely the face of it. I don't want to take away from all of the people
everybody,
who worked on that, 'cause,
everybody definitely worked hard, but
I mean,
it was
like,
kind of your
Katie,
baby,
Chad,
though.
Chelsea, like them co-hosting it with me, and then like Patrick and all the production guys, Michael Lindblad, Ben Ernst in the last couple of years. Like there were so many talented, crazy talented people who worked on that to make it what it was, and it was such a well-oiled machine that by the end of it, it was like I could actually breathe a little bit. Like there were years where I was just stressing the whole time, just like hoping everything works, and it's like being able to hand it off to people who knew what they were doing was great. But yeah.
I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, I mean, like Jeff was talking about it with movies too, but there's a lot of people that you don't realize behind the scenes. Like you see a movie, you see the front star actor, whatever have you. Same thing with a TV show, but you don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes to make sure that goes well for them. So, I mean,
even like when I finished the Rooster Teeth, I was with it Inside Gaming, and it was myself, BK, and Blizz were sort of the main kind of faces of it, but we had a team of like 3 or 4 people behind the scenes that were like fighting our battles for us and like setting stuff up and getting things lined up, and it's like that additional help. Like once you grow, once you get to a point where you can have that kind of support, it's just invaluable. It's so important. And is invaluable good or bad? It's valuable. It's very
valuable. Yeah,
it's very valuable. Well, I mean, invaluable as in like there's no value you can put on it, I suppose. But it's so good. However,
having people like on your side and fighting your battles with you and for you is just great. And so that's like, I had a blast in my last few months doing Inside Gaming because I got to kind of be the old man of Inside Gaming. So it was like me and BK and Blizz, and they're both kind of younger, kind of newer to the content creation stuff. And I had been at Rooster Teeth for forever. And so like they would kind of like, we would get flack from people, or they'd like, fight us over stuff. And I could be like, cool, this is what we're going to do because I've been here forever and we're going to make it happen this way. And then, and just be kind of the cranky old man, which was pretty nice.
There you go.
Which I mean, sometimes you need take that charge and
I'm the cranky old man in this thing. So
it's true. How awesome was it being in Red Dead 2?
Oh my gosh, that was nerve-wracking, my friend. It was. I am one
of the greatest games ever made, though.
Oh, absolutely. No, don't get me wrong. Like I'm so excited to be in that. I'm so proud of that. Like as far as like any kind of like additional stuff I got to do outside of Rooster Teeth, that was 100% one of the coolest things ever. But I know my skills. I know where I'm good. I know where I'm bad, and I'm a terrible voice actor. I can, if you want me to do a presentation stuff, the ladies and gentlemen, I can do that all day, no problem. But when it comes to emoting through voice, I, for some reason, can't do it. That's why I wasn't in a lot of Ruby. I was in the first and second season when they were literally, Monty was literally like, "Hey, Jack, you want to do a voice line?" Like, okay, but when it became like actual like actors were in it, it was like, yeah, we don't want you back. But we had
you can say these 2 words on this random character.
But we had friends at Rockstar, and so we had been, obviously we'd made a ton of content in GTA and Red Dead, and so I got, and I've got a friend up there I'd known for years, and then I got got an email from him with an NDA, and it's like, that's weird because like we're buddies, and that, you know, typically it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need you and Jeff to sign this, and it's like, okay. And then he's like, all right. And then he called me, and he said, hey, so we're working on this new game, and we're based here in New York, and we've pretty much found every authentic Southerner in New York to do a voice for this thing, and we need more people. Would you be interested in auditioning for Red Dead 2? And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff and I, we literally had to do like an audition tape. So I had to record like they gave me like a little mini script, and I had to record a thing, and they're like, okay, you're good enough, come on.
Yeah.
So Jeff and I flew up to New York, and we got to go, you know, Rockstar Studios, which were super awesome, and then went to the recording booth, and they actually had like this sort of headset thing with a camera like pointed at your face, because they were were like matching the lips and everything.
Yeah.
And my beard was too long, and they had to trim my beard above my lips so they could actually see my mouth. And
awesome.
so wearing this thing, there's an LED screen with the script on it, and then you've got a producer and you've got a sound designer in the other room, and Jeff for me. And so I'm sitting there sweating like crazy trying to like get through this, and it was nerve-wracking. And it's like, oh yeah, you know, we just had the guy did not John Marsden, or yeah, I guess John, but what the main character, basically, like they had him just like the other day, like the previous day we got there. And so that was like, oh my god. And like, there, Sam Jackson recorded in the studio. It's like, oh, that's awesome. Nervous. Yeah.
Thanks for making this easier.
Yeah. And so I you know, actually Jeff went first, and it was funny because like we both had our issues. Jeff's was his accent kept slipping, and so they kept having to be like, hey, accent. He's like, oh, sorry, and so he'd get back into it. And then for me, it was just like trying to emote and just like trying to get through it. And so it was pretty terrifying. And then like I had no idea really where I was. I knew I was a manager of like a hotel or something. That's all I could like figure out. And then I had a friend who got a copy of the game early. She was a reviewer or she was working for IGN or somewhere. And she's like, dude, you're one of the first people you talk to in the game. And I was like, what? And so literally like the first, like there's a mission, you have to talk to me to continue the game. And it's like the first major city. So it's like, that's wild to me. So, you know, all the people who played Red Dead 2 for more than 2 hours have talked to me at some point in the game. And that's,
what was that like the first time you
wild.
played and heard yourself? What was that like? That was pretty surreal,
weird. Right? Very, very weird. And it's, you know, it was just like, man, that's so cool. And immediately I'm just like, oh God, I sound horrible. But, you know, that's me. But then when the game came out, people were sweet and also a little bit horrifying, because they would send like a lot of people would send pictures of like my character, like, oh, I just met Jack, like, oh Jack, I saw you in the game. And then I would get pictures where it's like, hey Jack, check this out, and it's like my character being dragged behind a horse. And it's like, what? Like, that's not as funny as you think maybe that is. So yeah,
we all still think it's funny. We're all 5.
Oh,
Well, there was
yeah.
I mean, there was that one instant with what was the game where the woman actually had her real life and her child's life threatened because like her character in the video game. I was like,
wasn't that
sometimes people get a little carried away. I don't.
Yeah,
we just talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about The Last of Us.
Last of Us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was not Alex, I forget her name, but yeah, it's people get way too into this stuff, and like when you can't divorce reality from video games, it's like that's bigger issues than that. And, like people sending death threats over the internet, and it's like, you know, even like some of the harassment and like just racism I got to see. I saw when I was working with like BK and Blizz. It was just like, man, there are people out there who suck. You know, it's like
there's a lot of people that suck, dude.
Yeah. And so, you know, we'd fight back against that. And, you know, we were, you know, we were very actively like, you know, people would come into inside gaming chats and start talking shit. And it was like, all right, we're not going to let you get away with that. And so we would just run them out of town with a rail. You know, and so there was a lot of that stuff that, you know, you just want to take people and shake them. Be like, what's wrong with you?
I'd say that's probably like one of the downsides of like the, obviously video games have this huge ability to connect people. Like, I mean, all 3 of us met through video games and streaming and stuff like that. And I've met quite a few other friends through video games and stuff. But there's also that flip side where you have those people that want to take it way too far because you can't see their face, you only hear their voice. They think you'll never know where or who they are. Yeah. And then they just get out of hand with it. And it's just
a bunch of people that have never been punched in the mouth, and it shows.
Yeah.
It's the internet for you guys. It's the internet.
Just go to any public lobby with a headset mics on, and you'll you know, experience the worst of humanity.
For sure. For sure.
13-year-old Call of Duty lobbies. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we talked about the worst of the people that you met, and we talked about how like starstruck CC has been meeting you. What is your starstruck moment? Like, when was the time where you were speechless or not speechless? You know, I'm not sure the kind of like person you are, whether you're speechless or you just can't shut up. Because CC's one of those people that just doesn't shut up.
I can't. Yeah,
But
it's
like,
true.
who was the biggest like influence, or who was the person that you met that you never thought you would, or just the biggest starstruck moment for you?
Man, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of like pretty big people. Like when I was writing, I used to write for a movie website, so we'd go to like a lot of like events with like celebrities and stuff. And I was never really fazed by that side of things. And like, you know, a lot of my sort of fandom would come out for people like I respected, you know, like I would meet people like in the industry where was like, oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan. Like I met like Larry Herb and, you know, like Major Nelson and like, and so I'd like we'd always have like mutual contacts. Like I met Jeff Keighley and it's like, oh yeah, we had known each other through other people. And so I know like Adam Savage, like, you know, super nice guy. So like meeting people in the industry when you're making stuff and you're making content was always great. And I never really kind of freaked out. It was always like, oh, this is cool. Like I love the stuff you do. I'd love to, you know, this is cool getting to work with you. The 3 people on this planet that I have been near, not talked to, but still like started sweating immediately. Steven Spielberg, who I saw at E3 one year when he was walking around with his kid. And I want to say one of the Metal Gears had launched. It was Steven Spielberg and Hideo Kojima walking through the hall at E3, and literally there was like a wave of bodyguards in front of him and behind him, and they like cleared out the path. And I was like, that's and so well, like Jurassic Park is like life changing for me. So like seeing him was like, I don't even know what, like I would genuinely be tongue tied in front of him. And then the other 2 are Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the South Park guys.
Yep.
They like the stuff they did. Like if you watch their early stuff, like Cannibal the Musical is one. Seek it out. It's one of the coolest, funniest movies ever. Troma released it, so but it's a little hard to find now. But anyway, they dropped out of college to finish this movie. They ended up going to Hollywood, making South Park and making a bunch of films. Basketball is one of my favorite movies of all time. And so
hilarious.
Through a weird circumstance, I ended up getting a chance to visit the South Park Studios office, which is called Casa Bonita. It's labeled Casa Bonita. And so I got to go there, and I made friends with the IT guy at South Park Studios. And he's like, yeah, if you come by, I'll get you a tour. I was like, okay. And I went and visited the studio when they were in production. And as I was talking with him, Trey Parker came out of the back and started kind of pacing in circles, like working out a story beat in his head. And I was just like mesmerized by him, and I like couldn't talk. And then later on, we were looking at some of the back areas, and Matt Stone showed up with someone, and they were talking, and we were almost like shoulder to shoulder. And I could see Matt looking at me like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And I was like, And so anyway, those 3 people, those the ones I've been close to, never actually spoken a word to them, have seen them in person, and even now, I'm like, I don't know how I would talk to any of them. They're all so influential and so, you know, and important to my comedy, important to my like my media literacy, and just like, yeah, those guys, those are my heroes. If I could ever meet any of the 3 of them, I would sit down and talk their ears off for hours. And so
I feel like we need to get that IT guy to get you back out there, and you could meet.
Dude,
okay, I feel so like it could happen.
IT guys are the best. Like the places that I was able to get into while I was doing fiber optic splicing, was on the backstage of like the Jimmy Kimmel show. Was in Kim and Kanye's house out in Calabasas.
Wow.
I'm a fiber optic splicer by trade, and I used to work out in like downtown LA. Like there was this place in downtown LA they called the Dungeon, and it is like 15 levels below street level.
I talked to you when you were down there one time. Didn't I?
Oh, dude, it is the craziest thing, because you have perfect cell service there, but not in their parking structure that's above ground.
That's crazy.
And every like 50 feet, there's these gigantic steel doors with a guard shack. And so the whole thing was built back during the Cold War, and it connects like the LA Fire Department, the LAPD, City Hall, and all these other places in this huge bunker down there.
Wow.
And they're like, yeah, this is where everyone's going to go if anything ever happens. I'm like, well, if you guys need a fiber splicer during the end of the times, give me a call. But
so you can get fiber to my house then, huh? Like that's I've been waiting for fiber to come out here.
So more stories about that. Yes, but you have to be willing to pay for it. And
well, no.
So there was this guy.
I would say like, so Google Fiber came to Austin. Like Google Fiber was like Austin was the first city it came to. I moved from South Austin up to North Austin, and my house was in the second neighborhood that they put Google Fiber in, the one I moved away from. I've now lived in this house for 11 years. They just installed fiber in the neighborhood 2 years ago. They ran fiber lines, and then they're like AT&T fiber showed up. Like, hey, we're gonna start. Like we got fiber coming. It's like, oh great, like sign up here. It's like cool. They're like, yeah, we got fiber pretty much everywhere. And I told them my street, and they're like, that's the one street we don't have it on. And like literally, I'm surrounded by neighborhoods and communities that have it except for my street. So. And I'm like, well, I just work from home and need internet for streaming and recording. And no, that's cool.
So,
this sucks.
The best thing I can say is, are you close to your neighbors? I can just give you a little bit of like, all right. So if you're really close to your neighbors, especially like in like not just like you're like left and right, but like your entire neighborhood, if you guys petition, there is dark fibers. I can guarantee it. There's unused fiber that goes all the way back to the hub from wherever their feed happens to be. And if you get enough people that are promising to get that stuff, they'll take it. The biggest issue is that Verizon, when they did the FiOS system, got burned so bad because so many people are like, do you want fiber? This was back in like 2004, 2005. And they're like, oh yeah, fiber, that sounds great. But it was like $300, $700, $800 a month because back in 2004, who the hell needed fiber? No one needed a 10 gig network back in like 04, 05, right? Like you didn't need it. And so they were expecting like 75, 80% saturation. And they built a dedicated line to every single house in the areas that we built.
Oh, wow.
And they had like a 7% saturation at the end of it.
Pizza.
Notice that Verizon does not have a fiber optic thing anymore. It's now Frontier. Wow. They lost their ass. They got bought out and Frontier kind of picked up their stuff. Now it's much more usable. But they got burned so bad that they set an entire like precedent for the industry, and you just don't trust it anymore.
I
would
cut my
you can go out there and you can install fiber optic for Jack. That's all I'm getting out of this.
I mean,
you can install.
He's been to my house and didn't install it for me, so I mean,
yeah, you didn't have enough money. You're poor.
I wouldn't install it for you either.
I can't get over the term dark fiber. That sounds like a movie,
Okay, so I mean, I could talk about it here, I could talk about it off, but dark fiber is basically just unused fiber in a bundle that goes out there. So like the average neighborhood will have 12 fibers that feed the entire neighborhood. If you're going on a pure fiber network, we'll splice in 16. So every one fiber will feed so many off of it, and it just splits multiple times. Those 12 fibers will actually feed 432 customers.
Wow. When Zeus hits his villain arc, that's going to be the movie written about it. It's going to be called Dark Fiber.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fiber.
But no, if you want more about fiber optics, I'm not trying to take away from everything here. I will geek out with you about fiber. I've got an entire notebook behind me of what I don't think he wants
to know the process of installation.
He's just going to go around with a shovel and just start stabbing fiber. People's fiber in their yard.
I mean, I got everything in my neighborhood replaced. But that's that's another story.
I have cable internet. It is so unreliable. I pay for a gig download and only get 60, 70 up, and it's just so unreliable.
I moved from South Central LA to a small town out in Ohio. And now I have fiber, and I didn't have fiber in downtown LA. So, yeah, I moved from South Central out to Youngstown. So that's a huge switch for me.
I also imagine that's density too, right? Like that's like having LA, you've got the millions of people who live in a town, where it's like a small town. It's like, oh yeah, there's only a few thousand people here. It's a little bit easier to service those few thousand as opposed to the millions.
Yeah,
but it basically is more like the quantity is there, and it's a lot easier to have what we call fiber to the node, where it goes fiber to the node then splits off to your normal coax stuff, and that's where you're getting your fiber. That's where you're getting your cable internet and stuff like that. When you go fiber to the house, you need somehow to run an individual line to each person, but you have to have some kind of infrastructure there first. You can't just bank on one person. So.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, that's my talk about fiber, guys. I'm
million people in one little city.
So
so go ahead. I'll talk more about it later.
So what games have you been playing lately, Jack?
on another note, I mean, right now, honestly, I'm playing the game I'm working on. We've got, obviously, I've got like secret builds of that and stuff. So
but we can't ask you about that because you'll just disconnect the call and never respond to us again.
We're announcing it. I'll tell you, we're announcing it next year, so you'll hear about it soon. So that's gonna be fun. But I right now I've been playing Satisfactory like crazy. It just went to 1.0, the final release of it. 7 Days to Die, I play every single week.
I know that's a big one of your 7 Days to Die.
Yeah, I love me some 7 days. And it's fun because actually like playing on my own server with my friends. One issue with like Achievement Hunter was we would play for like 1.5 hours every other week. And there's not really a lot you can do, but it was like now I'm playing for like 4 to 5 hours every week. And so I mean, I can actually make progress. And like I've gotten to electronics now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this stuff I've never done before in this game. That's been a lot of fun. I'm playing Satisfactory 7 days. Minecraft is always in there. I was playing Deep Rock Galactic. What is it? What's the auto shooter called? Like Deep Rock Survivor. I was playing that for a bit, just because that's a lot of fun, kind of a brainless game.
So you're like a real big like survival builder thing. I love Conan, Rust. These are also, I'm guessing, things in your wheelhouse.
Ark for sure. I played a bit of Rust, but Rust for me was a little too sort of aimless. It was kind of like just build stuff. It's like, well, I need some sort of reason why I'm doing this. You know, even Minecraft, it's like at night stuff shows up. You know, it's like it's a simple little beat like that. But you know, with Minecraft now, obviously you have like bosses and stuff, so there's a reason to do stuff. Whereas Rust is kind of like you're on an island, go nuts. You know, but but Ark is another one that I know. Like I haven't properly sunk enough time into it. I'm sure I'll end up doing a run on that. I've been playing Call of Duty Zombies, Black Ops 6 Zombies, like crazy lately because I love me some zombies. I'm horrible at Call of Duty. I love Call of Duty Zombies.
So what did you feel about the first dude that hit 999?
Dude, that was like 30 hours or something. He was in one map or something like that.
I think
it took him like 45 minutes to clear one round or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the thing now.
I'm not a big. Just keep talking. I'm not a big multiplayer Call of Duty guy. I like Warzone. I don't like the multiplayer. I like the.
He doesn't like multi because he has no friends.
No, I mean I play multiplayer by myself. I mean the only reason I played is to level like.
You're not helping your case.
I mean, you're my friend.
That's a strong word. Okay.
Wow, how dare you? That's what it's gonna be to yell at someone. You're my friend.
You will be my friend.
He's been at my house twice. I mean, he's slept here.
So was the mailman. Are you guys besties or what?
I like the mailman.
Twice more than I've been there.
She's awesome.
See? Yeah.
So she's pretty awesome.
Jack, just know that you have a standing invite to Cece's house. I can already tell you right now.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. You're probably not gonna get much sleep because I'm gonna ask you questions all night. But you know, it's
as long as we go to Cedar Point afterwards, I'm good to go. But
I don't have that. I'm in Iowa. We don't have anything cool like that.
I think you said you were in Columbus. I'm sorry, I got my.
No, no. I'm the one that's in Ohio.
Oh, okay. There we go.
He's in Florida.
Kai is in Florida, and then CC's in the middle of nowhere.
Ah, okay.
I'll take you to Adventureland.
Cedar Point.
I'll take you to Adventureland. It's cool. I got you. Don't worry.
That sounds like a threat.
No, absolutely not. It's an amusement park. I promise.
I
it's
need
really
you to
good.
take this pill and then close your eyes. Put on this mask.
He does have two really cute dogs.
I do.
So I can vouch for those. You can see one in the background trying to get out and get away from him. I think Stanley's down there with you.
Spencer. Well, so
Spencer.
My girlfriend went to dinner with one of her friends, and we have our daughter's dog, and all three dogs together don't mix. So Spencer's hanging out with me. So
we have 6 animals at my house. I got 2 dogs and 4 cats, and somehow the ecosystem works. Like, two of the cats kind of pick on one of the other one, but it's not that bad. But other than that, like they all get along. Like the dogs and the cats, they all get along. It's just like this is a delicate ecosystem we have here. I don't want to upset it at all. So
Kai has a
delicate
delicate ecosystem. His wife actually washes chickens in their sink. Live chickens in their sink.
Okay.
Multiple times. I don't know why. They take dust baths, but here we are. Put a chicken in the sink, I guess.
This is mine right here. This is one of the 3 in my this bean.
Oh,
I don't know if you've have you seen Disenchantment on Netflix?
I have not.
Okay, well her name is Tia Beanie. It's named after the princess from Disenchantment. 7 months old. She's adorable.
You have to let other people tell you they're adorable, all right? You don't get to just automatically say it for other people, all right?
Yeah.
God, if I had the ability, I would kick you out of this call.
It's funny.
It's rude.
Someone today we were talking about animals, and they were saying that puppies are so cute because if they weren't cute, you would want to kill them. And it's like, yeah, that's about right.
They are annoying.
My puppies were just like, oh god. I have an Australian Shepherd and a Great Pyrenees, and they were both
I love me an Aussie.
They were she was a nightmare, and it was like, at least she's cute.
Yeah.
And so, but now they're
See-
older, and like now she's like 12 or almost 11 and a half years old, and the Pyrenees is like 3, so they're like chill as hell and is great.
I've
Makes
got
it a
pit
lot easier
bulls,
when they're
and they're
older.
the most loyal dogs ever and the easiest to potty train. And so yeah, we never had to worry. We never worry about pottying all over the floor and stuff. Zeus is still
Nice.
trying to potty train his dog, and it sucks.
She no, the pee is good. She potties outside unless someone gets her excited. I had to clean that up a little bit ago. But the poop,
Poop.
she's now doing designs. So I will put
So
it
she's
in
an
the
artist.
Discord so you guys can see it.
Artist.
She pooped
yeah,
a happy
super
face.
Okay, I'm not,
She
I
pooped
would
straight up like
I
dot,
would put it
dot,
on the
and, like-
podcast, but I don't think that's really necessary. You know?
Yeah, we're gonna pass on
Yeah.
that one.
All right, all
Yeah.
right, fine. I guess I'm the only one that gets excited about dog poop.
So are you do you remain close to anybody after Rooster Teeth was over? Do you still see anybody?
Yeah. I mean, I still talk with, I'm still friends with like Jeff and I. We try to grab like at least coffee once a month or so. Gavin and I
Yeah.
hang out. Ben Ernst, like him and I were like, we became super, super close friends. Like he was my producer on Annual Pass. And so him and I, he's running the Tales from the Stinky Dragon podcast. So he's
Oh,
one of the co-owners of that. So
that's
spun
still
off
going,
and
right?
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
started up their own company, and so he's in charge of that, and so he's working on that now. Once he kind of gets that established, then we're going to talk about doing something with Annual Pass, and so because he's so important to that whole podcast, and he knows what he's doing there, and so and he's helping me with like LLC stuff. Like he's basically become a lawyer since Rooster Teeth shut down. So yeah, keep in touch with him, and then it's like I play games. Like Carrie Shawcross and I have a standing Magic the Gathering meeting. Like we're gonna play Magic together. We're gonna play a Commander game somewhere, and so like we all keep in touch, and we're all. A lot of the guys kind of gone off, like Jeff and Gavin started up the Regulation podcast, and
Yep.
Trevor and Alfredo are doing Red Web still, and Michael and Alfredo doing their show. And it's just like it's cool to see people out like doing stuff and like being a little bit more hands on with it, because like when Jeff and I started Achievement Hunter, it was just the two of us doing everything.
Mhm.
And I think some of the people who came in later towards the end of Achievement Hunter, they didn't realize the amount of work and effort that went into that stuff. So
Yeah.
now I think they're kind of like realizing it, like, but now they get like full ownership of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty neat. And I hope they're having a good time with it. I hope everyone's having fun with it. And so, but yeah, I try to keep in touch with as many people as possible. And I'm still out there. It's like now, especially that I'm work from home, like I have to socialize myself, and I like have to make an effort to go and like, I want to spend time with people and get outside of this office here that I feel like I'm trapped in all the time. So
Right.
That's the worst part about working from home. Like it's great because you can literally roll out of bed and just jump on work and just be done with it. But it's like your home almost becomes a prison, and you have to force yourself to get out.
That's my girlfriend,
especially
works
for
from
me.
home, and she wants to go places. I'm like, I want to just go home.
Mm-hmm.
I love my home, so I'm happy here. Sorry, guys.
I love it too. But like being a performer, like being someone who's like, for 15 years was like dedicated to like making people laugh and like having people around me and like having an audience like that. Like, and now it's like, okay, you're just by yourself. It's like, oh, I miss it. So I do miss working in an office and, having that kind of like, engagement with people, but I'm very fortunate. I'm happy to be working with a company based in Finland, so that means I get to fly to Europe a whole bunch.
That's awesome.
And so
that's pretty sweet. Yeah,
haven't done it yet. I think December is going to be my first trip out there. So I've been working with them since October. So it's like it's nice to be like, okay, this is a real
they're
thing.
Still
they
recovering
still
from Oktoberfest is what it is.
So I mean, I got a couple other questions. What was it like when when Bernie left? Like I know the podcast was kind of never the same for me, with that, but what was everything like when he left? Did everything change a lot?
Well, I mean, for us at that point, by the time Bernie left, the company had kind of like expanded out wherever there was like not siloed, but there were definitely like departments. There was like Achievement Hunter and, like Inside Gaming and like, Ruby, like all in like the animation department. So Bernie kind of had a hand in a little bit of everything as sort of like a producer, like overseer role.
Yeah.
But as far as like his day to day, he wasn't as like impactful for any one thing except really the podcast. I mean, like the podcast, like he was on that obviously all the time, and so stepping away from that was obviously a pretty significant move. And I think that's where the people who are huge fans of the RT podcast, like they definitely felt that more so than the rest of the company. But I mean, like Bernie, like didn't really have a hand in Achievement Hunter at all. Like we'd see him every now and then, but it's not, he wasn't in the office with us. It was just the people in that room, and so there were no mandates. There were no one saying like you have to play this game or do this. It's like we never got that. And so, but also, I mean, but in respect to that, I mean, you know, to thank or to say that it's like, well, Bernie didn't also mess with stuff. He didn't get his hands in stuff he didn't need to.
Yeah.
And so, and then, you know, I was there when Bernie was the CEO, and then he handed it over to Matt, and then Matt handed it over, you know, a couple times. And so it's like, people like they all kind of recognize, like, especially with the Chief Monitor, was like, we don't want to muck with this too much.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are doing good work over there. And so we didn't really have to deal with a lot of kind of like upper management dealing with us. It was kind of like we were sort of the outcast of the group, kind of like we scared people within Rooster Teeth, so they didn't really bug us too much. Yeah. Which was good and also bad, because then like marketing was scared of us. They didn't know how to like do anything with us, and so we didn't get as much. You know, there were some things that we missed out on because I think we did just like, you know, tell people to, you know, screw off. And so
I've got some of
probably
the
could have been better.
off-topic cups and stuff upstairs. So
yeah,
I've got a bunch of that stuff. So
we get it. You're a fan, CC. We understand.
Well, yeah, but Mark, he was just talking about marketing. So
I'm trying to think of like anything cool that I know I stole from the office that I still have. I do have, actually. I don't know if you were talking about Extra Life. I have this.
Technically acquired.
We are getting stuff off camera.
So this is the last Extra Life we did. Our poster was like this big mountain. When it was like kind of like a the whole thing was supposed to be like an I Spy kind of poster. It was like a photo of a thing, and so I got the actual like head from the mountain,
nice.
and I took it home. So at some point I'm gonna put this in a shadow box and actually have it behind me. But this was like, you know, the thing was huge, and they're like, no one really wanted it. We tried to give it to Dell Children's in Austin. And they were like, it's really pretty and nice. We like it, but it's too big. And so, you know, eventually it was like, okay, let me just take the key.
Just put it as a statue in the garden. You know.
This is made by a prop designer. This thing's gonna fall apart. You know, if it's outside.
Yeah, never mind.
All right. So, seeing that is Tetris, and also I noticed your tattoo. Are those in any way related?
Not really. I will say, so my Tetris pieces, I've got like over all the years, like my first piece was this one. And so the idea is every major life event, I get a different piece. And technically this one, this little S block here, the blue S block, is the first time we raised $1 million for Extra Life.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So
that's a good idea. I like that.
The only way. Yeah. But
did you hear about the kid who beat Tetris?
Yeah, I did. Like reset the game, right?
Yeah, made it freeze and everything.
Yeah, he's like 14 years old or something.
Crazy.
Bonkers.
Yeah, we all played it for years.
Going back, I found how long it took that dude for 999. It was way longer than 50 hours. It was apparently over 170 hours.
Jesus. I'm just happy they actually have a save now instead of like having to pause it. So that's cool.
Oh, I didn't know they had a save. I haven't bought a COD in years.
Yeah, you can actually save and quit right now, which is pretty cool. And there are ways to exploit that as well for experience. And if you're camo grinding, you can do it.
I didn't know you could do that. I just died because I started playing.
I've seen a lot.
That sucks.
Oh, by the way, we don't call them exploits anymore. If the manufacturer, the creator of the game knows that it's there and they left it in, we now just call it an oversight because apparently it's working as intended.
Oversight, okay.
It's a feature.
Yeah,
I used that in Diablo 3 to level people in under 60 seconds from 1 to max. So
yeah, you're a cheater.
Wow,
you're a cheater, Zeus.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's the one thing we were talking about. WoW, like the idea is for me to start streaming WoW again. But like I when I started playing WoW, it was right before Cataclysm came out. So like level 1 to 20.
That was when I started playing too.
Like, I mean, because like I knew Cataclysm was coming, and I knew like everyone's like, oh, they're adding flying in. I'm like, okay, well, I want to play it. So I played maybe 3 months before Cataclysm hit, and then I played Cataclysm like all the way through. I spent like 2 years on that, super into it. I think Mr. Pandaria came after that, and I played that a little bit. And but then I kind of tapered off and eventually stopped playing. But yeah, I went hard for like that year and a half, 2 years playing Cataclysm. And now I know the classic is bringing Cataclysm in. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's wild. That's where I got my start. I'm almost like wanting to play that to kind of relive that memory. But I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll play retail. And you just because I hear like retail now you can level up pretty fast. Like you can get to like 0. My friend claims you get 0 to 20 in 3 hours, and I'm like, I don't know about that, but you know,
you can hit max. Okay, so speedrunners have hit max level in under 5.
Jesus, that's not me.
You can now. So Blizzard has gone so pay to win. You can just pay for a slightly less than max level for like $60.
Yeah.
Oh,
So whatever
God.
their level cap is, you go 10 below and you can just buy that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you
I don't want to do
buy
that though.
No.
if you buy a premium thing,
Yeah,
you
it's not
get
as
one
fun.
automatically given to you.
No.
It's all
Yeah,
about like
it's-
I love leveling up and like how your rotation changes. Like you learn new spells and you have to throw that in different. It's like, okay, now this isn't my rotation. Like that was some of my favorite gaming some of my favorite gaming moments ever was when we were playing WoW like crazy. And at the time it was a 25-man raid, and like doing 25-man raids, and it's like 3 hours just beating our head against the wall fighting the 2 dragons or whatever. It was like I love that stuff because like the moment you beat it for the first time, it's like after fighting the same boss for like 5 hours or 10 hours over multiple days, and then finally downing the thing, it's like, oh my gosh, it's such a huge joy, and I
you
love
get the
that.
chill.
And
There's like a huge weight off your
Yeah.
shoulders. You
And
take a big breath.
that's the thing too. Is like I have friends that are like, oh yeah, jump in. Like we'll drag you through all this stuff. We'll drag you through raids. I'm like, no. I want to contribute. I want to be like, I have my DPS list. I'm seeing where I am. Like I want to chart in the top 5. I don't want to just be a guy who's also there. Like I want to be a part of it.
So we call those mascots. They're kind of just there rooting for the team. We have 2 roles for people that don't really contribute. We have mascots and floor ornaments or dungeon decor.
Yeah.
Those are
Tripping
people that are
hazards.
just always dead
hazard.
in the first trip hazards. That's it.
That's what.
And
That's one thing I loved about New World was like it was obviously WoW has been out for forever, so a lot of people have already had characters that are maxed out. Like I'm sure Zeus has like 3 maxed out characters.
we're just not going to talk about. Wow, okay.
When New World came out, it was like that new game. I mean, it was 3D as well instead of top down, but it was nice because you could get your friends together and kind of go through that experience all together. And then, I mean, as friends, you all talk about which role you're going to take, your tank, your DPS, your healers, stuff like that. And then you all play through that entire thing together. And it's, again, like you were saying, beating that boss, but you're doing it from like literally start to finish with your friends that you play with every day.
That's why I
one thing
couldn't get
love about
into New World because you guys all got into it. Like I don't remember what I had going on at the time, but
You were like
was like 2
15
weeks
levels
behind.
you were
below
playing.
us, maybe.
You were playing COD.
Call
No, I
of
was
Duty
probably
or
playing
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Probably
Fortnite, yeah.
Again, you just have no friends. It's okay. We still love you.
It's all right. It's all right.
Um,
Love you too, buddy.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you taking the time out to do the show today, man. We're at time. If you want to say goodbye, Zeus, unless you have anything else you want to add, Jack.
there is one thing I wanted to do just
yeah, go
because
ahead.
we did do it with our. I know my name's not Jack. Sorry, but there is one thing. Jack, can you do us a favor and just say, "Welcome to the Unqualified Gamers Podcast"?
Sure. Welcome to the Unqualified Gamers Podcast.
See,
Now
that's
we
pretty-
have
I can do
that.
that. I can
That's
do that.
perfect.
I can't emote.
Most-
I can't
yeah.
emote. But
Oh.
I can do that. If you need me to announce something all day, no problem. I can do a VO for a commercial, no problem. But if it's like, like if you want me to like shed a tear while talking, can't do it. Can't do it.
That's where the hard parts come in.
That's where
Yeah,
the hard
yeah,
parts
yeah.
come in.
Is there anything that you have at all, Jack? Like obviously we know about you're going to be bringing up some fundraisers that you're going to be doing. Some charity work.
Yeah, I mean, so if you want to follow me, I mean, the best place to follow me right now, I'm on Blue Sky. I've kind of dropped away from Twitter because it's gone to hell. So I'm on Blue Sky. I'm at Jack Pattillo now. I managed to get my own like thing. You can just find me over there. I stream twitch.tv/Jack Pattillo. I try to do at least one day a week, hopefully 3 days a week if I do that right. And I'm over at Channel 37 is the name of the company I'm working for now. And you can find out more information by following them at We Are Channel 37, pretty much anywhere you get your social medias. And we'll have a bunch of really cool announcements coming up soon. I'm hanging out in the Discord over there as well. So we actually have a Discord server that I'm running. I'm the community manager for Channel 37. So if you ever want to talk to me, hang out over there. I'm in the Discord. As a matter of fact, watching it right now, they're slowly filling up. And so it's exciting because like I've been working for 2 months now as a community manager, but haven't had a community. So now I'm like, oh, I'm getting people. Here we go. I can actually start doing my job. And so I mean, it's been fun. I've been helping out in other ways. I actually got to help write some stuff and like design some levels. So it's like it's pretty cool. But now it's like, okay, I can actually start building this community and like getting people psyched for the stuff we're working on. So but yeah, and I've got charity stuff coming up. I've got an event coming up in December that I'm working on right now with a very cool organization that's been around forever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But follow me, just look Jack Pattillo, search Jack Pattillo, and you'll
We'll
find me.
we'll
On
put all
Twitch
your
or
links
wherever.
we'll put all your links
Cool.
in the description. So
Yeah,
Sweet.
and then
We got
once I'll definitely be keeping an eye out too. Once you bring out those charities and stuff like that, we'll make sure we bring them on
we'll
here
bring
too,
them.
so that way
We'll talk about them
because I think that's obviously a great thing. Like you said, it's like one of the best things you've done, and I think.
Well,
charity work
when is
always
this
a great thing,
podcast
so.
coming out? When is this coming out?
Monday.
Monday.
Oh, I can tell you then. Yeah, so I'm doing an event with the American Cancer Society. So I'm doing an event with ACS. We're doing an event in December. So it's like December, I think 21st is our target day. So yeah, so it's an event. It's Jack's like Christmas bash, I think we're calling it, or holiday bash. I forget what it is, but we're gonna be doing like bringing in streamers and stuff and playing games for probably 6 to 10-ish hours. Still ironing out the details, but yeah, I think I'm announcing it this Saturday, so that's why I can talk about it now. But American Cancer Society is fantastic, super nice people over there, and they reached out they like directly came to me and they're like, hey, we think you would be cool to do this, and so yeah, so we're doing something together. It's the first time I've worked with them, and I'm very excited for it.
Okay, so definitely keep
Awesome.
an eye out for that charity, absolutely. And then I'll keep an eye out for the one you're gonna try and do in February as well, and hopefully we can get up.
That one's actually, I can tell you that one's for Give Kids the World, which is it's actually in Florida. It's a place. It's Give Kids the World Village in Florida. It's kind of like a Make-A-Wish kind of like holiday place where like families with Make-A-Wish kids will go and stay there, and like every single day is a different holiday. So like it'll be like Halloween one night, then Christmas the next night, and then New Year's the next night. And they have like, if you ever went to Disney MGM Studios and saw the Osborne spectacle of lights, they took all those lights and gave them to Give the Kids the World Village. So those are all over there. There's tons of, it's a really cool foundation. And so I'll be working with them probably like February, March, because they've sponsored me for a bib for a Run Disney event. So I do like marathons and half marathons. So they gave me a bib, and I'm going to be raising money for them. So it's pretty cool. So that'll be happening a little bit later.
Hell yeah!
Still,
good luck on your run. I can't do it. But good luck.
I'm doing my 4th marathon in like a month and not even a month and a half, like a month and 2 weeks. So yeah.
You have the little fanny pack with the little goo in it?
I do. Well, actually, I do. I have shorts with they have gummies. They're like orange gummies is what I have. Like I can't do like the goo stuff you squeeze. I can't do that. That makes me throw up. But I have to have some
understandable.
Yeah,
I had a teacher. Anyway. That's all he did. He would always take his little goo. He would do like 6 miles. Like before he came into school, he'd be like, I woke up at 3 and went for like a 12-mile run, and I'm like, all right. Calm down.
All right, dude.
See, I used to be that guy, but then you start doing it and you're like, oh, this makes everything in my life feel better. Like I breathe better, I sleep better, I feel better. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually a good thing. And so it's just getting over that hurdle of actually doing it. That's the hard part.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
me too.
It's been a thing for a few years. Whatever.
Yeah. Do a Disney race. Do Run Disney. That's right. That's what I started doing. That had been my first marathon. I turned 40, and then a week later ran my first marathon. So it's like. Yeah, it's.
I think I could probably run half a mile right now and then possibly die. So
I couldn't right now.
You can jog it. You can walk it. It's no big deal.
Anyway. All right.
Yeah, I've got an excuse. Have fun, guys.
All right, Zeus,
Jack,
take it
thank
away.
you so much for joining us today. Thank you for making Cece squeal like a little schoolgirl. If you guys are wanting to see any of Jack's links, they will be down in the description. You can find us on Rumble, Patreon, Google, Spotify, Apple.
There's a list on the list, but that's okay.
There's a list on the list.
Everywhere podcasts are found. YouTube,
everywhere.
Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, everywhere. So,
but again, I just wanted to say thank you very much, Jack, for being on here. And honestly, I hope we can talk to you again soon and hear more about the things that you're doing in the future.